All right, what is going on, people? It is that sound. It's the Unfiltered Band, which means get another episode of Unfiltered coming your way. Another episode I didn't expect to do this weekend, but I don't know. I'm inspired. Episode number 45. I'm calling this one Deja Vu. And thank you, Unfiltered Band. Speaking of Deja Vu, always good to hear from you. I said, thank you, Unfiltered Band. I said, thank you, Unfiltered Band. Unfiltered Band doesn't want to go away. Unfiltered Band, please leave. It's the first time Unfiltered Band's ever done this to me. Okay, there they go. Come on, Unfiltered Band, what are you doing? This one's called Deja Vu. I remember, and thank you, and join the Unfiltered Revolution. I forgot all the niceties. Hop on board if you're listening on the podcast. Make sure to jump on board to the YouTube channel and hop on there. I want to hear from you. If you're listening to the YouTube channel, make sure to jump on board Twitter at Casey Stern. Join the Unfiltered Revolution. I want to hear from you over there. Lot to get to on this show. And I want to specifically focus in this episode on an experience that I went through covering a team that many of you want to forget ever happened. And I'm not going to delve too into it, but why it reminds me of, from now afar, watching what the other team in New York is going through here at the Yankees. I remember 2007 very vividly. I was in the clubhouse pretty much every day. And I remember, and I referenced in a pod earlier, I remember being in the press area, eating at Shea, and talking to people covering the team, and everybody looking at each other being like, has this ever happened before? And it was like the first conversation. This is kind of how that time period went. From at the time, September 12th, when there was a 7-game lead, to when it was over, the Phillies had won, and your Jason Worth is still stealing bases on Billy Wagner, and CC Sabathia pitching every 14 minutes so his arm could fall off because the Brewers didn't care. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember the 7-0 lead that the Marlins built on Tom Glavine. I even remember that, for those of you who don't, Ramon Castro almost hit a grand slam to cut that pretty early in that game. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is like, pre-Kenny Rogers, 99 Game 7. Maybe they just come back. I remember the crying in the clubhouse after that loss. I remember never being in a quieter clubhouse not related to a death. Ever. Quieter press room not related to a death. Ever. Was that 92101 as a fan? I mean, I never covered anything like this before. At the time, I was only in the business like 4 years, not even. I mean, I'd never seen anything like this before. And clearly, as a Met fan, I mean, who are we kidding? No, it was not wonderful to go through. It was not like, oh, well, I'm glad I'm covering this event. No. I remember people even covering it, having conversations, trying to explain it the same way that you hear Booney now do and that every Yankee fan is trying to do. And you come up with reasons, and the reasons then, don't matter. We're talking about 15 years ago, except for our therapist. But the reasons now, you'd say, okay, well, Garrett Cole had some ups and downs, and Michael King had that injury, and Stanton hasn't been there. They've had inconsistencies in the bullpen. They've had to use a lot of young kids this year. Aaron Judge can't do it on his own. They become very homer happy. You can get into all of that. But at the end of the day, the lead was 15.5 a month ago. It's 7 now. And the teams that are beating them are the teams cutting the gap, like the Tampa Bay Rays. Mind you, I mean, could you imagine if Donaldson doesn't have that grand slam walk-off just a couple of days ago, just even how much worse it would be? Lead would be 6. And it looked like that game was over. And Donaldson was not a guy any Yankee fan trusted, based on the way he had performed offensively. They didn't even want him to take ABs. What a crazy scenario that is being put together right now with this team. And look, I mean, I always shoot straight no matter what is going on, no matter what it is. Even if I like a guy, know a guy, I'm going to do that. I happen to know Booney well. For those who listen to me over the years when I was doing Inside Pitch on Sirius XM, they know that he was a frequent guest, and they also know that he won our Inside Pitch Fantasy League 4 times. I used to joke, just ask him. One of my favorite people. But it doesn't matter what the manager says at this point. They don't figure this out. A couple things you could be sure of. Number one, even if they win the division, based on, hey, they had enough lead in the horse race, nobody could catch them, where are they going the way they're playing? The answer is nowhere. They ain't beating Houston playing like this. They know that. They know that. Twins aren't going to knock them off because it's just never going to happen if they get in. But, the Terry Francona's little engines that could, in a 5, they could. I'll put anything. The Yankees can't even score. Seem to put the phases of a team together at the same time. Even when they get runs, they're giving up more that game, or a bullpen blows it. I mean, everything's going wrong. And yeah, you look to leadership, but I mean, to sit there and do no offense, and I mean this, and I do like Stephen A, and he's always been nice to me when I met him, but it's asinine to sit there and do a rant the other day, which is everything I hate about this industry. Everything I hate it. Really? Oh, Aaron Judge, when are you going to step up? You were 0 for 4 last night. Is that really where we're going? You think it's his fault? Come on, man. But the problem is that we don't even know whose fault it is. Now, there's always going to be a fall on the sword, scapegoat scenario with teams like this, especially in big cities like this. And there's no more pressure than being the manager of that team. Where, yeah, I don't care. They extended Booney for the rest of his life, and I love Aaron Boone, personally and professionally and otherwise. You don't have to tell him he's in deep trouble if they collapse, just barely win a division by 5 games, play like crap the rest of the way, and don't win. He knows that. And I get why you got upset at the press conference today, because, you don't want to, falsify these, let's get kicked out of games and let's try and do all this stuff. And you don't have to liven up. Look, people who play for the Yankees. And first of all, look at the names on this team. They know the pressure. They understand what they're trying to do. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to, explain it to them. They're not idiots. They're not unmotivated. They may, in fact, be not playing loose enough. Perhaps. And I'm not in the room, and that's not a cop-out, but really, it's just honest. I'm not. I have no idea. But they may, in fact, not be playing loose enough. They certainly have enough talent. Look, one thing we've learned, and let's take it just from the side of with the Mets, right? The Mets and the Braves fans can get on each other all they want. You know what they should both agree on right now if they're listening? You see how these two teams have played everyone else, and they haven't played the Dodgers, either of them, recently. But you see how they're playing everyone else? Have you seen how many games they're winning against everyone else? See how good the Phillies played, and then how they play against those two teams? Do you realize how good the Mets and the Braves are? Mets and the Braves and the Dodgers and the Astros, these are dudes. Are the Yankees? They used to be. It may be down to 4. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to pan out that way, but in terms of if you power rank who's really legit, it may be down to 4. I don't know how good the Yankees are anymore. Do you? I don't think they know how good they are. It's one thing to say it, and Donaldson after the walk-off, and I like JD. He's it's... They know how good they can be. They know how talented they are, but do they believe right now in each other and as a team? Certainly doesn't look like it, but that's what happens when you play badly. It's that chemistry, that chicken or the egg. Do I look like this because we're not winning, or we're not winning because this is how I look? There's really no right answer. I mean, really, there's no way to answer. There's not. I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you this much. It ain't good. And you want to talk about the difference between how quickly, this is what people, that drives me freaking bananas, right? I told you, I'm working on Unfiltered Revolution merch. I'm working on Facts merch. Somebody asked me about that. It's a good idea. I want to do an Are We Serious thing. But I wish, I could have a shirt where I have, a long explanation of, this shirt's as long as the baseball season. Stand here and read it, idiots. It's 162 games. There's a million chapters. Excuse me. Oh, the Mets couldn't hit. The Mets were finished. Then they swept the Yankees and did all those things. They had one game against the Reds in extra innings and blah, blah, blah. Then they beat the Braves, and it's great. Then they lost 2 games against the Braves. Oh, my God, it's over. Then, okay, all the injuries, and now they beat the Phillies, and everything's back, and everybody loves everyone. I mean, it's how it is. Why do I bring that up? I was on, go look at my Twitter. They probably posted the conversation. I was at a Toronto radio station a week ago. And they were commiserating about how terrible they thought the team was and how much it was pissing them off because they weren't winning enough. And did they do enough at the deadline, they asked me. And they said no, because I don't think they did. Now Jays win 4 in a row. Beat the Yankees a couple times. Now they're 7 out. Look how quick that happens. And that is what is the deja vu of reminding me about 2007. Because nobody understood what was happening. I don't know why they couldn't score. I don't know why all of a sudden they couldn't pitch. I don't know why Billy Wagner was, and I love Wags, was in a trance when Worth is running behind him. I have no idea. They couldn't beat the Phillies at all. Would they lose 6 straight to him? I mean, it's ridiculous. I have no idea why Chase Utley seemed to get a hit every single time for like a month. I have no idea. But everything just, it's like I did a bit many, many years ago. Very few people will remember, but there are some. Right, the whole thing is like the Earth's crust was caving in on itself. That's basically what it looks like now if you're a Yankee fan or a player and you're feeling that. And you feel that in a small city. You feel that on a bad team. Can you imagine feeling that if you're a Yankee fan? Can you imagine feeling that in New York with this pressure? You imagine feeling that after you make the moves at the deadline? Can you imagine feeling that after getting knocked out Brasso in the 60-game season, the Red Sox singing New York, New York, and laughing at you? Can you imagine all that? 200-win campaigns, you can't do anything with it. Judge could be gone. All the money you paid Cole, and the list goes on and on and on. All the stuff the Astros have done to you, whatever. Like, can you imagine the kind of pressure? I mean, the pressure is only getting thicker. You can give guys a day off. You can tell them to go get an ice cream, go hang out, and, hey, you're off tomorrow. Go tie one on tonight and burn the candle at both ends and go take a break, see you in a couple of days. You could do that to a guy here and there. But you got to win games, and you're playing a team that's trying to catch you, and they're 7 out. And if the Rays had won that game with Donaldson, you'd be 6 up. It's crazy. Do I think the Yankees are going to lose this division? No. Being fair, if you would have asked me on September 22nd, 10 days into the collapse, do I think it would have continued? No. Even with a week to go, I didn't believe it. But that was so quick and drastic, and this is so gradual and like insane. I can't figure this out at all. I bring up the Mets Braves things with the Phillies because look, the American League, you realize how much talent the Yankees and the Astros have? No offense to everybody else, but it's the haves and the have-nots. They're playing enough bad teams. Yankees aren't playing the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Braves and the Astros every day. The Jays didn't look good a week ago. The Yankees are making them look good. Reality. They're making them look good. Right now, the Yankees don't look good. Right now, it don't feel good. Right now, you got a manager who's pissed off, and it's certainly understandable. And I'm sure thinking, what the hell can I do to get him going? Drop Judge in the lineup. Then you get 2 times in a game today. The 2 spot comes up instead of that's what reminds me of the deja vu. Everything going wrong. Nothing going right. No explanations, no excuses, no understanding. Excuse me. It just keeps happening. It's crazy. I don't think they're going to blow the division. But right now, they got to concentrate on playing the kind of baseball you got to play to win in October. They're not playing baseball you could win in September or August right now. You got a while to go in this thing. But the Yankees have allowed this to become interesting. Think about how much more from a rest standpoint, and you're going to get the bye, and the way you kind of set things up, and the way there's so many things. I mean, they have been awful. And the idea that Joey Gallo is, the Dodgers are amazing, but wait, 14-3 or whatever it is, they're 3-14 without him? This is the value of being nice to people. You fans who were mean to Joey Gallo, now you're 3-14, right? If he was DX, he'd say, "I had 2 words for you." I've got 2. Unfiltered Revolution. Join it. Get on Twitter at Casey Stern. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which that info is in my bio. Get to all the videos, and we'll keep you posted. I just wanted to drop a short reaction because it's crazy. It's some deja vu. I don't think this one is way more long and drawn out, and in a lot of ways worse. But let me tell you something. George may not be around, But you think the Steinbrenners and the Yankee brass and the Yankee family want to lose tomorrow to the Jays on a Sunday as I tape this on Saturday? Be 6 up and then go face the Mets and DeGrom and Scherzer, who just swept them the last time? You think that's something they'd be interested in? You want to talk about when was the last time the Yankees played the Mets? And the Mets would have all the house money, not with their own division, but in terms of like how they're being looked at. And the Yankees would be the ones everybody's staring at. Like they're Armando Benitez in a 9th inning waiting for him to blow it. Pretty crazy. See you soon, people.